Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show. Today we have the incredible Leslie Hocker in the spotlight, a globe-trotting entrepreneur with success stories as vibrant as her travels. From pioneering Pilates in Houston to leading heart-centered brands with her husband, Leslie's journey is a blend of passion, purpose, and perseverance. Join us as we dive into her remarkable experience of nurturing a business with heart and helping others craft lives that spark joy. As she says, a life you won't want to take a vacation from. Leslie, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tom, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And I love the whole theme of your podcast of leading from the heart.
Well, thank you. And I'm so happy to have you on the show as well. And especially, I love your saying of, live a life that you don't want to take a vacation from. And I think that's such a good way of living. I'm also really excited to talk a little bit more about your Pilates experience in Houston, but we'll get to that in a second. But first, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
I've given that a lot of thought because it really is about people. It's people first. And that's a phrase that a lot of people use, but what that really means is I came from a corporate background, which was win, lose. I figured out when I got to the executive level, for me to win, someone else had to lose. And I really was looking to create a life where I could win and others could win. That really is teamwork, leading with the heart, serving, helping other people, because I don't know if you're familiar with Zig Ziglar. My husband actually knew Zig. And so I always butcher his quote, but it's help enough other people get what they want and you'll get what you want.
It's absolutely true. And your corporate experience was oil and gas, is that right?
Yes.
Mine too. So that's where I started in corporate, is oil and gas. That's really funny. But it's interesting that you're talking about for you to win, somebody else had to lose. And that was my experience in corporate America, or in oil and gas, I should say. Specifically, it was very much a win-lose situation. And that's just no way of treating people.
Well, and for me, I'm like the fifth or sixth female to get the degree that I have, which is a specific degree for the petroleum industry with engineering, geology, and law. And I really worked hard to get to the executive level. And then when I got there, I was like, I don't know. This isn't fitting. I love relationships. I love meeting new people, connecting with people. So that just wasn't happening.
So you left that. And then, so tell me about the Pilates in Houston, because that's where I had my fitness center in Houston for 20 years. So I'm sure we know the same people in the same areas.
Oh my goodness. So what happened was when I got to the executive level, I was at a very young age. I was in my late 20s because of timing. And one day I said, okay, I am not going to be going to work in the dark, coming home in the dark, and working weekends in my 50s. I need to start a business. So really, there wasn't too much thought into it. And I always laugh because with a business degree, they teach you how to work for someone else, not for yourself. Yep. So I really was clueless. And hence the Pilates studio, because I think a lot of people start businesses where they find something that they love. So I was an athlete, graduated college, had 16-inch neck. I was, big, bulked up. And the Houston Ballet had a Pilates studio for the public. And it helped me immensely with getting back to a normal size. But when they closed, I thought, well, everybody would love this exercise. Okay, so Timing in business is everything. And this was in 1984, and no one had
Oh
heard
my
of
gosh.
Pilates. I think I made it about 6 months and then just turned it into a regular exercise studio for women because it was a small space. But that was my first experience with, oh, there's more to business than just starting a business. And just because you have a business degree doesn't, you know what you're doing.
I know. That was exactly the same experience that I had. I thought managing millions of dollars in budget for a major oil and gas company, I should surely be able to run a small business. And boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, same
That's
here.
crazy.
I managed multi-million dollar budget, and it was
Yeah.
ooh, quite an education.
So what was that shift like going from the cutthroat oil and gas in the 80s environment to then a small business for yourself? Like, what was that like?
Well, it was an interesting experience because one thing you can say about corporate America is if you set an appointment, someone showed up. But in the fitness industry, people would set appointments and never show up. And then you had employees.
Right.
So in a way, I created another job for myself.
Well, that's what some people say is you trade a 40-hour a week job working for a bad boss for an 80-hour work week working for an even worse boss when you start your own company.
Well, and that's
And usually for less pay as well.
it's interesting because around the same time, my next door neighbor shared with me a business model, which most people know. I call it just share the love marketing, but it's like an affiliate marketing where you could have a turnkey business where I could dictate my own time and my own schedule and was more dependent in the beginning on me showing up and
Right.
working rather
Yeah.
than other people.
Yeah. Now, how did that align with the heart and just your personality and all that? Like, going from a profit-led business into a heart-led business, what was that like in terms of just emotional change and heart-led change?
Working with people to help give value, working with products that give value, and helping people set. As an athlete, I was very blessed. When I started my journey towards being an entrepreneur was when I realized all the lessons I had learned as an athlete. I was a swimmer in AAU and then university. And all those lessons I had learned about setting goals, competing against myself, working to be a little bit better, that whole slide edge philosophy, the consistency and persistency. And then, so I had an aha moment one day and I went, oh, because I had left all of that behind me because I wasn't identifying as a swimmer anymore or an athlete. But then I realized as an entrepreneur, being heart led, then looking back at all your experiences and pulling those forwards and taking the best pieces and making those work. So I learned to make a plan, set goals, figure out where I wanted to go. And that came from my background as an athlete. Thankful for my parents putting all 5 of us in swimming to keep us out of trouble so we weren't on the street doing drugs or literally.
Wow.
It's funny how
Yeah.
things work out. That is why they put us in swimming, to keep 5 kids out of trouble.
Yeah. Well, some type of extracurricular activity. You need that as a kid.
Well, with 5 kids, there's always someone to get in trouble with. Really, we're all like 2 years apart. My mom, bless her. Who knows how she managed that? But a lot of laughter. My father was in the petroleum industry, and that's how I ended up there. But one day he came home, and they're more common now, but he came home with a plaque. He loved it. He was laughing about it. And this is someone who's highly recognized when he retired by the petroleum industry and had legislation with his name on it. And the plaque said, anyone who can remain calm in the midst of all of this simply doesn't understand the situation. That was our house.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, a lot
Wow.
of laughs, and a lot of lessons with 5 kids.
Yeah.
And I think I took lessons also from my parents managing 5 children.
Yeah. So tell us like how you look at businesses now in terms of heart led and what you're doing now in terms of having your heart led business.
What I'm doing now is I find and grow a business that fits their lifestyle, that will help them either get a little bit of extra cash flow into their life or a lot, as a friend of mine calls it, gangster money,
Okay.
compared to corporate. And so what I'm
Right.
doing is I'm helping people find and grow a business, which really means grow themselves. Because
Yeah.
what I've learned along the way is your business will never, and really your life will never be any bigger than you are. So it's a journey of working to be a little bit better myself with my skills, with AI, with technology, et cetera, so that I can help the next level. For a number of years, actually worked as a next level growth coach. Because we all have a
Okay.
next level, Tom. That's when you
Yes.
realize we all have a next level, then it makes the journey easier.
Yeah.
Because what tends to happen is, as humans, we set goals. And then when we don't get to that goal, then we beat ourselves up instead of looking at what we've accomplished. Instead of measuring against where we started and where we
Yeah.
are now. But we look at that
Okay.
gap. I didn't make it. I didn't get there. Instead
Yeah.
of looking back. So we all have a next level. So it's levels of growth. I work to help people know that they should celebrate their wins and that they just
Yeah.
keep working towards their goal.
Oh, that's awesome. And I can imagine that working with so many different people and helping them find the businesses that bring them joy and all that, I'm sure you've found a lot of both heart-led as well as profit-led businesses as well as people. What can you say about the differences in terms of the long-term success of a company that is heart-led versus one that's more profit-led?
In my experience,
Yeah.
the focus on solely for profit is you're going to have a shorter lived business. You may we could sit here probably and talk for hours about examples, but the companies that, and I know it sounds so cliche when you think about it, but the companies that do focus on growing people, on empowering people, those businesses, what is it? People will quit a job or they'll quit a business, but they won't quit a family.
Mm.
And
Yep.
there really is so much truth to that. I
Yeah.
don't know how else to describe it except the focus on people first. It's not about being a pushover or being nice. It's
Right.
about genuinely guiding people and helping people. I've had hard conversations with people and they didn't like it. But what I've always shared is, hey, I'm not big into conflict. And truthfully, I'd rather not coach you to this next level. That's my nature. But because I care about you and you're important, I'm going to spend the time to have this hard conversation. And so
Yeah.
that's the piece that when you help people understand, you're trying to help both of you get to the next
Yeah.
level.
That totally makes sense. That it's coming from the heart and not just, hey, you need to make your numbers so that the company can succeed. It's, hey, I really need you to make your numbers so that you can succeed. And, whatever the conversation happens to be.
Yes.
Completely, it's a different way of approaching it. But I also like to go back to something that you said earlier about people will quit a job. And That is totally accurate. I would add to that that they won't quit a purpose. So if they're part of a
Mhm.
business that has a strong purpose to it, people staying at those companies and being super effective and efficient and those companies thriving versus like a big oil and gas company. Yeah, they're making billions of dollars, but how efficient is it? And there's always issues sometimes that come up. So it's like, I'd love to get your take on how companies and why, for that matter, why companies fail at putting people first when they know that is better for the long term.
I don't think there's much education on that. I remember when I was in the Petroleum, long distance phone calls cost a lot, and part of my territory
Yeah.
was Louisiana, Arkansas. So I was having to make long distance calls to get deal. I worked in exploration. You're talking the
Nice.
company making millions and millions, or maybe spending millions, and it was a
Yeah.
goal. But I
Yeah.
remember it was one of the accountants came in and gone and talked to my boss because,
Mm.
like, I don't know, 3 grand or something like that, and how many hours I had spent on the phone. So I'm in my office negotiating a contract for an hour versus getting on an airplane, flying over there, all of that. I think what happened is you have a board of directors, or you have private equity, or you have venture capitalists that are only looking at the bottom line. And the problem is they don't understand the workings. So this accountant did not.
Mhm.
He looked at the numbers. He looked at how long I'd been on the phone, like I was chatting, as if chatting about my gardening or something.
Calling a friend for 2 hours
Yeah.
on the company dime.
It's like, really?
Uh,
So I
oh,
think
that's
it's just
ridiculous.
really not paying attention when you're elevating people to executive positions, that they have an understanding of how the business works in its entirety, and that's the danger that you get as the company grows.
Yeah. Well, and the education, but just also just common courtesy almost that, yeah, or just some thoughtfulness. I had the same experience where, again, the accountant comes in and says, well, why is Tom's expense bill? Like, do we see how much Tom is bringing in business versus how much Tom is spending? And so it's always interesting when those conversations happen, when I hear those conversations too. Well, I think a lot of people have that experience, especially if you've been in corporate, that it's just like, why don't you think before you talk or think about the person or the bigger
Or
picture,
ask
really? Yep.
questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I think that's something that I've seen too from heart-led businesses is that there's more questions that are asked. It's more curiosity versus like telling people what they're all about. They're more about asking the right questions. Yeah.
Definitely.
So what do you see the future of heart-led businesses in America these days?
I have noticed a definite trend towards the culture being very important, of community, of
Mm.
people working together to help each other, and that's what I'm very proud that I have developed, a community of people that'll work together to help each other have success, whether they are directly benefiting from helping another person or not. So it's that focus
Mm.
of serving. It's how I define servant leadership, because you're leading yourself
Mm.
and then you're helping serve others. And it's that mindset of abundance, that there's enough there for all of us to have success. And that's really, I've seen a huge focus towards culture and community and helping.
Yeah. Yeah, that and I'm glad you brought that in too about the community and the culture because I haven't heard a lot of people talking about that in terms of heart-led businesses, but you're absolutely right. That's when you look at businesses, and I think I was listening to a podcast or video where they were talking about the brand and that the community of the brand was super important because that's what kept people coming back for to buy again and again. I like that's really yeah, and it's very true. At my fitness business, we had a great community. Everybody just gelled nicely. And clients just didn't churn. They didn't leave because of the community. And of course, they were having fun getting results as well.
Results are always a
Yeah.
good thing. But I think people,
Yeah.
when you don't put people first and you're married to the results on the bottom line. So I forget what it's called. It's an intangible. Putting people first is an intangible that doesn't show up on your balance sheet.
That's right. It does not. But the salary does. And that's what they look at is, oh, this person isn't being productive.
And your hour-long phone calls do.
Yes. At $1 a minute.
I was like, really? I just negotiated us a multi-million-dollar contract in that hour-long phone call. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous, but it happens. Leslie, this has been just a fascinating conversation. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your insights into the different industries as well. But how can people learn more about what you're doing and contact you?
Probably the easiest way, a couple of pages. My favorite things to do every morning is affirmations, or as I call them, declarations. So for all different areas of your life. But the easiest way is if you go to Leslie Hocker, HOCKER.com. And it's LESLIE. It was named after my father. It's his middle name. So people try to put a Y and all kinds of other things. So it's lesliehocker.com. And it's just a simple form. If you fill out your info, then I'll be happy to get that, my daily affirmation guidance to you. In being a heart-led business and working with people, it's how you talk to yourself is critically important.
Yeah, absolutely. The way you talk to yourself is probably how you talk to other people too.
I always tell people, if you want to beat yourself up, just call me. I'll be happy to beat you up for you. And of course, it's a pattern interrupt and they laugh.
Yeah.
Well, no, really, seriously, talk to yourself like you would talk to me. Not beating yourself up all day long. That's part of helping people be the best they can be. So please look me up on social media. I'm on Facebook as Leslie Hocker. I'm on Instagram. And then, of course, LinkedIn, but lesliehocker.com. And feel free to ask me any question. I'd be happy to serve. I'm at a stage in life, Tom, where I'm looking to give back all the decades of experience and knowledge and hopefully just one person. So just helping one person.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And thank you so much for being with us today and taking time out of your schedule to share your stories with the audience. I really do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I enjoyed it. And I didn't know we had so much in common.
I know. It's so crazy. Thank you, listeners, for watching the show today or listening to the show, depending on what platform you are on. I really appreciate it. And I know Leslie appreciates you sticking around as well. And make sure that you're checking out everything that she's doing down in the show notes. And we're going to put all those links down there so you can click away and chat with Leslie and get some guidance from her. Definitely get those declarations, the morning declarations as well. That's important to have that good self-talk. So until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.